Welcome to McNulty's Book Corral. Today we're going to take a trip. Today we're going to England. We're going to go to the Shropshire countryside and a beautiful little market town called Ludlow, where we'll find Ludlow Castle and many other delights. Now, I put together a series of 5 short films relating to a trip that I took with my wife and sister-in-law, Terry, in the late summer of 2019. This is the first of the 5. We're going to Shropshire. Of course, there are books involved. Absolutely, you better believe it. The first book I want to mention is a travel guide called Shropshire by Marie Kreft, Kreft, and here's what the cover looks like, published by BRADT and Brandt. And this is Stokesay Castle on the cover, by the way. The reason I'm recommending a travel guide as a book is because of the quality of the writing and the details found therein. Marie Kreft did a beautiful job with this book. The writing is elevated. It's descriptive. It's passionate. It's exactly what I like. It's like reading a travel memoir when you read this book. I don't normally do that, recommend travel guides. Most of them are not that well done, but this one is. So if you can get Shropshire by Marie Kreft, this is Stokesay Castle on the cover. You'll see Stokesay Castle represented in the little short film that I'm about to run for you. Great book. And the other one is actually by Ellis Peters, who was born in 1913 and died in 1995. It is also called Shropshire. And this is what this lovely little book looks like. Ellis Peters, her real name was Edith Pargeter, 1913-1995. As I said, she wrote the Codfile mysteries. Codfile is spelled Cadfael, I believe. And she wrote many of these mysteries set in the Shropshire area. And she wrote a memoir about living in Shropshire. This is where she was from. And this is a beautifully written memoir about Shropshire. There are some photographs included, just a few. And again, the writing is just beautiful here. So, 2 books called Shropshire, one by Marie Kreft and one by Ellis Peters. If you're going to look for information on Shropshire, I'd recommend these 2. There are probably others, but let's just leave it at that. Now, these videos that I put together are for 2 audiences. First, those of you who cannot travel. And there are many people in the world who watch these YouTube videos because you can't travel for whatever reason. It could be health reasons, it could be financial reasons, and so forth. But you may dream of traveling someday. This video is for you. I hope that you find it informative and exciting and gives you a moment of entertainment and insight as you watch it. And I hope that if you get a chance to read these books about Shropshire, it's a beautiful place to visit. I love the United Kingdom. I've been very fortunate to travel in my life throughout the United States and a few other foreign locations as well. But since going to England, Scotland, and Wales a year ago, I really felt as if I'd come home because I'm Irish, Scottish, Welsh, English, and Norwegian, per the DNA and genealogy that I've put together. So in any event, if you're quite ready, take a look at this little film I put together relating to a wonderful market town called Ludlow in the Shropshire countryside. We begin our exploration of Shropshire here at the Whitfield House, which my wife Jan and sister-in-law Terry quickly realized was a place of singular beauty. We're at the Whitfield House at Ludlow in the Shropshire countryside. This is our bedroom. And I'm going to show you the view outside here. I'm going to go outside in a moment. Terry and Jan are down there conversing elegantly together. And we have sheep and some beeves back there. The castle, I don't know if I can zoom in on the castle here. There's the Ludlow Castle. We'll be going over there later. Sorry if this is a bit shaky. And then there's the cathedral. And I'm going to go downstairs. Let's go out and about. Take a look here. This beautiful place. There's our bathroom. It's in here. I'm going to go out and down the haunted staircase. All the way down. In Ludlow. And we're going to Take a look out at the side. There's a garden behind the house. It's just absolutely breathtaking. Now we're going down outside. Fantastic place to stay in Ludlow. Again, it's called the Whitfield House. And this is the little sitting room here, looking out on the garden. Jan and Terry are back there. And this is a wonderful room to relax in, looking out at the garden in the countryside. And I'll just step over here for a moment, and we'll just take a look at the. This is the breakfast room, which is right next door, which we'll have breakfast here tomorrow morning. We're going to walk outside to the front of the Whitfield house now. Fantastic place to stay. And we're going to come all the way around. Here, let me show you the front door. The front door has this beautiful knocker on it. And I'm going to pan up so you can see a little bit of the grounds, the circular drive here. This leads around to the garden, of course, in the back again. And then over here you can see, this is the rear of the house, I believe, or the entrance. Not really sure how they view that if the other side is the front, but let's walk around to the garden because it's so beautiful back there. I want to give you a good view. Again, there's the driveway coming in, and we're going to walk around the side of the house and get out to the garden and to see if we can relax. You probably can hear the wind. Look at this beautiful old doorway. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? England is a special country, and the Shropshire countryside is equally delightful. Just fantastic. So I'm going to zoom in on that hill out there so you get an idea on the landscape. There's nowhere to look that's not beautiful here. So let's come out here before we talk to Jan and Terry. Let's take a look at the castle from here, and you can see the rear view from the rear of the garden of the Whitfield house. You can see the castle. Excellent view. So that's just a little more than a mile away. And I'm going to back up a little bit. We're going to go over here. I think you can see a little bit of the cathedral. And there we go. There's the cathedral. So from my vantage point, I can see the cathedral on your left. And then over here on your right in Ludlow is the actual Ludlow Castle. Again, is right here. I'm going to back up a little bit. I'm going to swing the camera around to the back. Look at this beautiful place. Look at this. This is fantastic. There's my friend Eileen over there. And this place is breathtaking. Look at this beautiful, beautiful home. I'm going to just do a circular turn here, and then I'm going to just step back up on the path, and I want to show you where Jan and Terry have decided to park it. And here they are. They're relaxing here in the garden of the Whitfield house in Ludlow, the Shropshire countryside in England. Hi. And they're all fresh as a daisy. Trust me on that. Now, Terry only drank 1 pint of Guinness today, so I'm a little worried about her. That's not quite enough, probably. And Jan, of course, is the one that's a designated walker. So we're going to take a look down here. I want to look at this garden here. Look at this beautiful place. And I'm going to walk down there, but we've got the sheep here, and then beyond that fence, that hedgerow, are the beeves. Somewhere, I don't know where they went. There they are. And just ambling along as they do, ready for a nice sight of beef. So I'm going to walk down the path to this little garden section here, which is heavenly in Ludlow. And it's beautiful here, as I've said. I'm sure you can see that. And again, I apologize if I'm rambling. I'm really tired. We had a long, long commute from London. And I'm coming down here into the garden a little slower than normal because I don't want to fall. There's another set of steps here we're going to go down. And then I'm going to show you the house from that vantage point. So we're down deep into the garden now, at the hedgerow. And as you can see, there's little nooks and crannies and places to explore. And over here on the left, you'll find a ghost or a goblin or two, perhaps lurking beyond the range of the hedgerow and the cypress trees and so forth. So this is the property line, I guess, for this house. So we're here by the back of the garden, the very back. Downhill from the house. The garden is really in two sections, and this is a sheep pasture over here, way back, and then when we come around, I'm not going to do the turn, we're coming around up. Look at this beautiful place. And I'm going to show you the Ludlow house. So we just came up from there to the lower level of the garden. So let's see if I can zoom in a little bit, and there they are. And this is called the Whitfield House. You can Google that. In Ludlow, Shropshire countryside. Absolutely beautiful and well worth your time to come here and spend time relaxing in the garden or inside the house and catching your breath a little bit. So there we go. Our bedroom window looked out upon the rolling southern Shropshire countryside, green pastures with sheep and cattle, and where, on these late summer days, the sun poured soft and golden among the stone property walls, gently swaying oaks and flowering hedgerows. The garden in the rear, bordered by a hedgerow and the expansive view of the pastures, is manicured and well cared for. The path through it is not exactly a maze, but hidden from roving eyes. The rear of the house overlooks the garden, and from our bedroom window we had an unhindered view of Ludlow Castle on the hill and St. Lawrence's Church. The late afternoon light filtered first through the ever-present gray clouds, but then touched the green hills in all their glory, picking out the colors as if by design. We explored the countryside surrounding Ludlow Castle, hiked into the hills, wandered about the deep forest trails where elves and little people are rumored to live. I love the deep country legends of England and Scotland. There is a mystery to be found in the glens, valleys, and vales of England's thriving woodlands. Ludlow is a market town, friendly, quaint, and emblematical of the charm and dignity that prevails throughout all of England. On our last day in Ludlow, we climbed into a bus and rode to Stokesay Castle, about 9 miles north. The weather held, although a slight rainy mist gave the Shropshire countryside a haunting look. Stokesay Castle exists at a higher level of completion and restoration than Ludlow Castle, but nonetheless is equally as memorable. The courtyard was clean and manicured with shrubbery and flowers blooming on our left. After leaving Stokesay Castle, we returned to our lodgings with a sense of satisfaction. We had found a paradise in England, and each of us knew that henceforth Ludlow would remain a glimmering jewel in our memories, an oasis from the harsh realities of life, a place to relax, to heal, and to nurture our souls. I trust now, telling you this, that you will find it so. For Ludlow and the Shropshire countryside are magical places. I felt a deep sense of time as I observed sheep slumbering in the cool summer grass. So we returned to the Whitfield house to once again gaze out upon the gently rolling hills of Shropshire, with Ludlow Castle on the hill before us, which is, to my way of thinking, the true heart of Shropshire. I return often to Ludlow in my memory. There is an old Irish saying that explains that if you wish to know where your heart truly lies, then look to where your mind most often wanders, and so it is that Ludlow is there for me nearly every day. Everywhere I looked was an abundance of history. Our journey had only recently begun, and yet the idea of leaving Ludlow was upsetting. I have rarely experienced such a sense of peace and contentment, and Shropshire and Ludlow were now in my blood. I vowed I would return even before we left. The summer days lingered, and I reveled in the fresh country air, the kindness of the townspeople, indulged myself in pubs, and made notes for a future book. Then the sunlit fields began to darken at twilight, and tall oak trees, flashing past with vivid detail, then receding down the track like a fading memory. The Whitfield house is special, etched in my memory as a peaceful, creative presence during our long journey. And on we went.